Hello everyone and welcome back to another casting by PGL Milncraft. This is of course PGL Milncraft speaking to you all. And we're here in a game between the Blue Terran player Strelok and the pink, which pink is an awesome color by the way, pink Protoss player Nani, or Naniwa as he's also known. And because we're using a modern replay, we get the fancy new little name sheet. And we're just going to go ahead and leave the little name diagram, I guess, up at the top so you can be able to, for those of you who have trouble remembering which team is on which side, it's just going to be able to help with that. Now, I just want to talk about these players a little bit. This map, of course, is going to be Metalopolis, as you see there, one of the oldest maps. It's been in the map pool since the beginning of the beta on the ladder. Of course, Naniwa saying good game and good luck. But Strelok Strelok and Naniwa are both European players. They're both quite good European players. Strelok hasn't really done well in any particularly big tournaments, but he's plays a lot on the ladder. He does very well on the ladder. He won the first two Craft Cups. For those of you who don't know, the Craft Cup is this huge tournament in which any number of people can join, and it's really big in Europe. And anyone can sign up, and then you just play. A single elimination matches all the way down. So to win two of those in a row, when you have talking about a tournament that has about 1,200 people, is just a terrific thing, and it's just incredible that he's able to have that much consistency to be able to beat that many players. You know, no matter how many players, the quality of the players that you're playing against, it's always going to be difficult to do that well. Now, and it's really great that he's been able to do that. Naniwa, primarily known for he's actually able to win MLG Dallas. For those of you who are following that, he was able to beat Kiwikaki there and be able to succeed. Naniwa had a little bit of trouble having his career start off because he was known for cheesing a lot, and so he had to switch teams a little bit, and eventually he was able to kind of settle down a little bit. Strelok as well had a little bit of trouble being able to find teams. He is currently a member of imba.fx open, which is why he's imba Strelok. And I'm going to stop for just 1 second. Just closed up on our browser, so I just want to make sure I didn't have anything. It was lagging out a little bit already, so just want to make sure it wasn't going to lag out anymore. We see a normal standard opening with a regular gas timing from Strelok, which means we're probably not going to see any sort of fast expansion. It remains to be seen what Nani's going to be doing, typically speaking, unless the Protoss are doing. You see the probe there trying to get some extra shots against that SCV. The Marine's going to chase him out of there with this little spray gun, doing a little bit of damage. The probe trying to poke around, maybe trying to sneak back into the base, but the Marine's not going to let him. He's going to chase him out of there, and the probe's going to go ahead and head home, or possibly head to the watchtower to be able to sit there and see if any more damage is coming. We see that Nani was actually pulled his probes off of gas. That almost certainly means a fast expansion, which you see he's about to put down right now. So it's a super fast expansion, 1 gate fast expansion. It remains to be seen whether or not Strelok's going to be able to punish him for that. It looks like Strelok's actually going for a fast expansion of his own. He's about to put it down right there. He's getting a Reaper. The Reaper is a huge sign that you're probably going to be doing a fast expansion, because the Reaper allows you to scout, allows you to do a little bit of harassment and deal a little bit of damage, but doesn't really let you attack that much, especially compared to the build time. Reaper is 45 seconds, whereas a Marine is 25 seconds. So you can build 2 Marines in the time it takes to build 1 Reaper. So if you're doing some sort of attack strategy, generally speaking, you're not going to go for the Reaper first. You see he's starting the Stim Pack. Since Stim Pack is now raised to 170 seconds from 130 seconds, it's good to get those started as soon as possible. We see the Reaper getting down over here, and he's chrono boosting out the Stalker to be able to deal with the Reaper. Reaper should be able to get a couple of kills here. He's only gotten 1 so far. It's great moves from Naniwa, able to move the hurt probes out of there. Nice to be able to get the 3rd kills, but now he's going to be chased out by the Stalker. Is he going to get killed? Oh, he's going to have to be able to chase him around, actually. Get up here and maybe shoot some more probes. Get the 3rd kill, and yep, 4th kill right there. That Stalker barely able to get the bunker. The SCV building the bunker right before it finished. Great move by the Stalker. If that bunker had finished and the Reaper gotten in it, it would have been a little difficult to deal with. He still would have been able to deal with it with the Stalker by moving it in and out and shooting at the bunker, but it would have been definitely a pain. It would have been hard to transfer probes without letting them die. Getting to the new expansion, he would have definitely been taking lots of pot shots from the bombs being chucked out of the bunker from the Reaper, and he will cancel this at some point. We see a bunker going down there to help protect the expansion. We see 2 more barracks being built. Looks like he's going to go for a heavy infantry build, very standard against Protoss. It's very difficult to get a mech build to work because Protoss has such good units such as Immortals and Colossuses, which are pretty good against most forms of mech, especially siege tanks. Not necessarily good against Thors, depending on the micro of the situation and whether the Thor, of course, has its 180 strike millimeter cannons, because those stun and actually are enough damage to kill an Immortal because they ignore the Immortal shield, so they just blast, 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 and just destroy the Immortals. But anyway, we see him doing the regular infantry build. He's getting an early engineering bay. It shows he's probably going to be getting early upgrades because you don't really need turrets against Protoss unless you see them actually going for Phoenix, which is pretty rare against Terran because Phoenixes, I mean, they're useful for picking up siege tanks, but they're so bad against Vikings that people rarely do that. We see the Protoss player with his 3 gateways is actually doing a little bit of aggression here. Strelok's going to need to move in some SCVs to repair this, and actually you see that Strelok has a relatively light amount of forces defending this. His SCVs are actually running away. He definitely wants to keep these SCVs down here to be able to repair this bunker, but he doesn't have really anything else beyond the bunker to be able to defend himself. He should probably have a backup bunker as well built up here. Looks like the forces are going to poke in. They can do a little more damage. He's stimming from behind, and stim forces in the bunker as well. Those of you who don't know, you can actually click stim pack from inside of the bunker. That was something that you were not able to do in Starcraft 1, but now you're able to do with the new advancements, new user interface. He's sending the SCVs now to make sure and that's going to cause even more damage. We can go to the workers killed, find that there's now been 10 workers killed. Marines are chasing. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage, though. Meanwhile, the extra Zealots are going to move in. This is probably a bit of an over-pursuit on the part of Strelok, actually, as these Zealots are not going to be able to move through and deal a lot of damage to these Marines who are going to be able to kite, but it's hard to control both the forces at once. The SCVs are going to be picked off. We see 14 workers are now killed. These Marines are going to be able to clean up the Zealots, but these Marines are not going to be able to do a very good job against the Stalkers, which are still here, as well as the Mules, which are now being taken apart with a lot of time left. You know, we see 58 seconds left. That's a lot of trips that are not being dealt for, and this looks like this orbital command is going to be taken out as well. Strelok's coming way behind here. He's probably going to have one less attack that he's going to be able to try to execute before he's going to just say good game. Able to get all the Marines down before it gets force fielded. Lucky there that Naniwa wasn't quick enough to be able to take action against that. But these Stalkers should be able to deal with these Marines. Yeah, this should be able to deal with the Marines by being able to. Looks like Naniwa's not going to actually run away with the Stalkers. Maybe he thinks it's too difficult to be able to do. The reason Stalkers are so good against Marines is you're actually able to have them because they're faster than Marines, and they have rechargeable shields, obviously, and they have longer range than Marines. So that's why they're so effective. Looks like he actually wasn't able to take out the orbital command. Nonetheless, because of the huge amount of workers killed, we see that there's a huge difference in income. You can drop a couple of mules now, which he's about to do, and that'll even up the income a little bit, at least in terms of the minerals, but he's way behind in gas. And you see that they even stored a lot of different minerals. Like Nani was storing 600 minerals. We see he's now up to 6 warp gates. Actually, he's all powered by one pylon. He should be a little more careful with that. It's probably not going to matter in this game, though, because it looks like he's going to be able to take out his opponent just with those 6 warp gates. He's going to make sure that he's going to keep attacking Strelok. And you see him microing by pulling the hurt ones to the back and then being able to move back forward to fire. The Marines can't really do too much about that because if they move forward, they just take shots from the other ones until they die. Then Strelok's just going to go ahead and GG out of this game. He thinks he's way too far back to be able to come back. And indeed, we see that Naniwa did a lot of damage in this game. So that's the end of that game. We're going to be moving on to Game 2. Thanks for watching.